Hey, thank you for joining me for this DM Tips for Light of Xaryxis Part 1. This covers chapters 1 through 3 of the Spelljammer adventure, Light of Xaryxis, which we have just started playing. There'll be spoilers here, so if you're a player, please play the adventure first, come back, and let us know how it went in the comments below. So again, this is for chapters 1 through 3 of Part 1 of Light of Xaryxis, and the characters should be 5th level for this part of the adventure. The authors are Chris Perkins, Justice Ramin, Arman, Sadie, Lowry, and Jeffrey Ludwig. My apologies if I mispronounced any of those. And it's inspired by the 1980 film Flash Gordon. Pacing for game days or conventions. So if you're running for a game day or convention, these will probably be slotted with each chapter being 2 hours long. If you're of course running at home, take as much time as you want. Hours 0 to 1 and 1 to 2 would be the first chapter, and it'd start with character introductions, the fight with the Astral Blights. Then the party could investigate the Crystalline vines and encounter danger in the streets and either head toward trouble at the docks or of course go toward the outskirts, and then the end of that chapter. The second part, the second chapter, hours 2 through 3 and 3 through 4, again character intros, aboard the Moondancer, that's the astral ship the party gets taken into space on. Then when the Elves attack, and that'll carry over into the second hour. To the Rock of Bral, Mind Flayers, and Chapter 2 in. And lastly, Chapter 3, hour 4 to 5, character intros, Benoto, exploring the Lucent Edict upper levels, and last hour, exploring the mess hall in the lower, the Neogi Raiders, and the end. For pacing, there's a couple of big events that you can kind of put in as you need to. There is Traevus Takes Over, which is a mutiny aboard the Moondancer that could take place. And then there is, you could throw in a Neogi raiding party near the end. I did. I put Neogi Raiders here. That's not actually part of that chapter, but if it runs a little short, feel free to throw that in. When I ran this, I ran it as 2 games, both under 4 hours, and I combined the first chapter and the second chapter in the first game, and I did the third chapter in the second game. Music for the adventure. So I'm playing the music here from Tabletop Audio. Right now, Astral Plane is playing. I'll turn this up. This would be when they're in Chapter 2 and Chapter 3, and they're out in space on the Astral Plane. Not actually the Astral Plane, but in space. So there's that. And then, actually in Chapter 1, when they're in the dock area, I use the Docks District by Tabletop Audio. Turn this up a little bit. So good dock sounds. And then in Chapter 3, on top of the Astral Plane music, you could throw on the Derelict Freighter by Tabletop Audio, or you could use Gravity by Tabletop Audio. I'll turn on Derelict Freighter here. So that'd be all during the part of exploration of the Derelict Lucent Edge in Chapter 3 of the adventure. And then you can use, if there's any combat, Orbital Prison Break is a good one for that. Turn that up. There's a lot of like gun blasts and stuff like that take part in that adventure. So there's the audio. Now for the maps, and these are really good. So the maps I used were by Tessa Maps. Here is everything on one map for parts 1 through, or part 1, chapters 1 through 3 of the adventure. I have the starting area in chapter 1 of the docks. First the bakery shop and then the docks. I have the Moondancer ship here. I have the Elven ship here. And then in chapter 3, I have the Lucent Edge, the Mind Flayer ship right there. And then I have the Spider ship, which takes part only at the very end of the adventure. These maps you can find, and I'll put a link below, on Dungeon Masters Guild. Tessa presents 45 maps for Spelljammer and Light of Xaryxis, $5. They are a bargain. You get a whole bunch of stuff with that. A couple of things I did with the maps is I made copies of the ships. These are the full-size ships here, PNG files, but I made copies that were 1/10 size in order that I could make every one of the squares on the space map 50 feet instead of 5 feet and have kind of large-scale space battles. So here is the Moondancer as it's departing the planet, and it could come across the Elven ship, and then it can later come across the Derelict Mind Flayer ship, and finally the Spider ship. Then a second thing I did besides making the small ship tokens, on the multi-level maps, where there was a level where you could see the level below, I darkened the level below. So here's the forecastle and the stern castle, and the deck is darkened out. And then you can see the same thing on the derelict ship here, where the highest level, you can see a level below and another level below. And over in the Bral, 1, 2, 3 more levels below. And I did the same thing every level down, so you knew what was on what level. Tokens for the adventure. I've gathered all these through the years. I'm going to share the ones that were in the adventure itself. So this cool guy, what are these things called? The Nethagu token I'll share. The Sirloin token I'll share. Don't have them up yet, but I'll get them up soon. The Hadozi aren't available on the wizard site, so you have to go find those on Google. They're still out there. You should be able to find them. I'll share the Astral Elves there and there. And then already shared is Flapjack, the Flump spelljammer on the Moondancer, who is a friend of the party, and Captain Elena, the captain of the Moondancer. Now, let's look at the adventure in a little bit more detail. So the starting, and look at the encounters in the adventure. The party starts out in the bakery, and they're quickly out into the street where they find some Astral Blights. The adventure has 6 Astral Blights, and I upped it to 9, and even that was pretty easy. And then I had the Astral Blights start repopulating right away, and only like 2 or 3 around. They don't normally repopulate until all the first wave are gone. Party was cognizant of this overwhelming attack by these things and decided to flee quickly. Because, of course, at the start of the encounter, Elena is there, obviously a pirate, or at least a seafaring individual, and she says, I'm going to the docks, you should go too, and then disappears for that encounter. And of course, the party followed her to the docks. The other option the party can go is toward the outskirts, and if they do that, they will fight a whole bunch more Blights and eventually be rescued by the captain who got her ship back without them. But if they go to the docks, then they will help the captain get her ship. They'll get to the docks, they'll see some thugs guarding a ship, and the captain will approach them and say, that's my ship, help me get it back. And the party can help her, and she takes them on board and gets them off the planet as these horrendous vines, these are the vines here, are erupting. And there's a good picture of that, too. There's a good picture of the vines over the city. You can get a feel for the enormity of what's happening. Okay, so the party gets off the planet at the end of the first part. I like how all the cliffhangers and endings are going. Suddenly the galleon lists and creaks as it rises out of the water and into the air. The world falls away beneath you as the Moondancer flies through the clouds and into the starry abyss of night. Part 2 begins with the party on the Moondancer and their introduction to Flapjack, and Moondancer is going to be crewed at this time. Oh, the fight here. Fight to get Moondancer back is going to be with Traevus and a bunch of his thugs. The party will overcome him and they might take him aboard. He will beg to be taken aboard and claim that he'll follow the captain, whatever her commands are. And my party, when I ran it, they did take him aboard because he has some sailing skill, whereas all the commoners otherwise don't. Okay, so now they're on the ship, filled with up to about 60 commoners for the adventure, and Traevus and Flapjack and Elena and the party. And they're going to go, they don't know what's happening on the planet below. Elena suggests if they go to the Rock of Bral, an asteroid she describes, that they can maybe find out what's going on. So they set out spelljamming toward the Rock of Bral. Not long into their spelljamming, they come out of spelljamming and there is a ship on their tail. They're actually, say, going this way. And there's a ship on their tail. And the captain tells them there's no way that she can outrun this ship. So prepare for boarding. And she turns her ship around and tries to close the distance as fast as possible. I started this encounter maybe too far away, and it was like 10 rounds before the ship's closed. That's what the adventure suggests. But that was kind of a boring 10 rounds for the party. So I would probably start it near ballista range. So that'd be 10 squares away, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 500 feet away. And that gives the party basically 5 rounds. All the time they can be firing ship to ship. And it's already in longbow range, so we can fire longbows ship to ship. And spellcasters are going to be casting preparatory spells, and people can be taking potions. And the ships will close. And when they do, the Astral Elves, there's 3 warriors and there's 1 priest. And it's not too difficult of a battle, but what you can do is I threw in the mutiny. If the party has Traevus aboard, just as the elves appear to be defeated and Traevus thinks they have it in the bag, then he launches his attack to take over the ship. And that filled up the 2 hours for part 2 pretty well. Then at the end of the battle, Traevus defeated, Elves defeated, party can get on board the ship and explore it, and they can find out maybe what's going on here. The Hadozi can share with them that this ship was used to launch basically like almost like torpedoes into their planet. And that is what's causing the vines. Dozy can share where the elves are from, and with that information, the party can go to the Rock of Bral and maybe find out how to stop this or get some insight on how to stop it. Chapter 2 ends, the party's defeated the elves, and they're heading toward the Rock of Bral, and they come out of spelljamming speed again in an asteroid field, and they see a Mind Flayer ship. Cliffhanger, end of Chapter 2. Chapter 3, the first thing is the Mind Flayer ship is derelict, so it's not going to attack. They have a chance. But the captain wants to go salvage what the captain can salvage from that Mind Flayer ship. So here we have the Moondancer approach the Mind Flayer ship. Captain asks the party to go on board and kill anything they find aboard that's hostile and recover anything they can recover salvage-wise. So the party's going to head that way. The first thing they notice is there's someone on board the ship, and this is a young man who's hailing them. And when they close, they can see he's very distraught, and he claims that he's got friends that are injured below that he needs help with. But he's not real deceptive. There's no real deception skill in this guy, so I gave characters with good insight the knowledge that he seems to be exaggerating being distraught. So the party's on watch. If they do land there and follow him, he will try to lead them down through an ambush with the rest of the Surlons, try and split the party up as best he can and get an ambush going. Then, if the party defeats all of them, then the party can explore the ship. So the upper levels of the ship, there is a Mind Flayer headless on a chair with some maggots crawling over the top of him. Not a too difficult encounter. This is supposed to be insects, and I use these rock grubs. Let's see if I change that. Okay, so swarm of insects, no. Same damage, pretty much. Same hit points. They bite for 44, whereas the maggots bite for 44. So it was really too easy, and I ended up doing 2 swarms, and even that was pretty easy. The party can find possibly some treasure there, and then they can continue on down to the lower levels, find some more treasure, another headless Mind Flayer, then descend down to the level where the Surlons attacked, and beyond to the level below that. They can find most of the ship's weaponry is destroyed. Descending even further, they can get down to the cargo, where something horrible happened. A whole bunch of people are dead. There's this strange spider-like creature down there. They find a doorway that's like barred, and then there's a creature in that room, this really cool creature that can not telepathically, but cries out in common for help. And this thing is pretty spooky. I would definitely make this thing invisible to start the encounter. And I wish I'd given it more hit points, because it went down really fast, basically got like 1 action. And its actions are kind of not that great. I was going to do Arms of Hadar, which would be pretty cool. And I probably would have upped its level, even though this thing doesn't have upper levels, just to give it more oomph. Let's see, what level does this thing cast at? Doesn't say, so I guess it'd be minimum level. Anyway, I'd suggest more hit points for that thing. And or it's got this Mind Blast that can incapacitate someone until the end of the target's next turn. If that was the end of this creature's next turn, then it could do the Extract Brain, and that is scary. Definitely gauge what your party likes there, because that could basically end a character, but it's a cool, spooky monster. Then, continuing further down, the party can come to the back storage room here, where there is 1 Quaggoth hiding. Complete pushover. You can make it 2, and even that was pretty easy. And then, if you're done with that last exploration of the ship, and you got time left, a good, 45 minutes or so, maybe even a little bit more, you can throw in a Neogi raiding party. I had a Number Hulk and 4 Neogi come attack the party down there. Meanwhile, I had Flapjack communicating with the party. There's some telepathic members of this party. You could do it even if there's not telepathic members in your party. And Flapjack's like, get back on board our ship, quick, hurry, and give some incentive to the party to try and get out of there. And then when they do, and they're back aboard their ship, then you can do the final cliffhanger of this part of the adventure, and that is the Neogi ship approaching the Night Spider, and that is this guy right here. And that ends the adventure. So pretty cool adventure. Party finds out what's going on here, that the elves attacked, the elves caused this, and that their planet's in extreme danger. There's no known way to stop it, but maybe someone at the Rock of Bral can help them, and they are heading there next. If you like this, please hit the like, please subscribe. Let me do more of these videos like this one, and I hope you come back for part 2. We're going to be playing that here soon. This is a pretty cool adventure. I'm looking forward to playing the rest of it. All right. Thank you for watching.